Take another photograph and document a life that's right. And ways consist of simple things, the days of black and white. And faces from a humble past.
Oh, hello everybody, bienvenue and welcome back to Talkin Guff podcast with me, your host, Reuben Django Pouch. I said I'd be banging them out, didn't I? I did. Last time I said I'd be firing them out every week and that not to worry, I'm back. And that's not what happened. Maybe in fact the opposite of that has happened. I haven't done one or I haven't released one in over 2 weeks now. But I have actually tried to record multiple episodes of the podcast multiple times. Like I did one on health because I'm trying to give up smoking cigarettes and it's important and I'll do it again, but I didn't like it, so I scrapped it. And I had done that a couple of times maybe, and then I did another one that again I didn't like, so I scrapped it. And so I have actually been trying to produce content. I just haven't been happy with the content I've produced. I suppose I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling the flow at the moment, you know what I'm saying? And anyways, you can't give out to me because I've got COVID. What? What are you saying? Staunch COVID denier Reuben Django Pouch has COVID? I bet you he feels stupid now. Well, I've never been a COVID denier. I've always said I thought COVID was a real thing. And I'm not even anti-vax per se. I'm anti-government overreach. I'm anti sort of half-baked mandates. And I'm anti one-sided conversations with censorship on the other. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm into, and that's what I've always spoken about. But yeah, I have COVID, and before I regale you with my COVID story, I just wanted to do a bit of pepper, a few shout-outs, etc. We'll start with the shout-outs. JH, I think it was, made a comment, and I meant to address it sooner, made a comment on the Left versus Right episode, I think number 28, and it was a really fucking great comment, and it made my fucking day there, because it really felt like the person had connected with the episode and taken something from it, and that's all I ever wanted to achieve with this podcast, so I was really happy with that comment on that episode. Also, we had a comment from Gav McCabe, who was clearing up the Kanye West thing for us. It was Talib Kweli who was fucking bopping away to killer tunes in the car with Kanye in the documentary, and I couldn't think of it at the time, and Gav McCabe put us right on that, so big up Gav, thanks for sorting that out for us. And also I'm just so glad to know that you're still commenting and by default still watching the podcast, so big up Gav. Hope you're doing well, man. Peace. Also Wicklow B is a consistent commenter on Talkin Guff podcasts, and he recently commented on an episode, and I was just happy to see that comment because Wicklow B has always watched and always commented, and I suppose somewhere along the way I thought we'd lost you, Wicklow B, and I'm glad to see you're still with us, and we might take on one of your suggestions now later on in the podcast as well. Who else are we saying? Oh yeah, we just wanted to I seen this thing in an Irish newspaper, and it was maybe borderline distasteful given our housing situation, but Robbie Williams has found himself without a home, and quote unquote, technically we've nowhere to live, because Robbie sold all his multi-million-dollar euro mansions, and now he's poor mouthing on some sort of nationally syndicated radio in Australia, and I just felt like saying, fuck off, Robbie. You're a millionaire. You know, you want to give out about something, I don't know, just that to me seems distasteful, you know what I'm saying, bro? Get a fucking grip on yourself. It's not as if you're poor and you've nowhere to go and you're falling between the cracks of a broken system. You're just a millionaire who sold all his gaffs, so fuck off. What else? I'll tell you, right? There was a woman in Tunisia, did anyone see this? And she had a suspected urinary tract infection. And then they had a little route around. It turned out she had a fucking glass tumbler encased in a gallbladder stone stuck inside her. They had to take it out. She had put it up inside her for sexual gratification some 4 years previous. Don't do that. I mean, I don't mind. You want to put a glass up inside you and get horny, that's your prerogative. But if it goes up, like, you have to get it back. You can't just leave it there. That would be crazy, right? And she left it there, and we'll put a picture here. Pop, it's encased. It looks mental. The poor sausage. She must have felt heavier Like, it's a glass tumbler, you know what I mean? You know the type of glass? I had one in here, and I was looking at it going, fucking hell, mate. She must have been heavier. So, I mean, again, what was she thinking, the poor sausage, that it was just going to disintegrate? Baby girl, get yourself to the doctor, admit what you've done, and sort it the fuck out. I think that's it for the pepper. So I'll just get straight into it and regale you with my coronavirus story, right? So I work in a restaurant. There's two crews, a daytime crew and a nighttime crew. And one of my right hand man at the nighttime crew, we were both saying on the Sunday gone, oh, I feel a bit scratchy, a bit, you know, but it felt more sinusy. And then I did it. That was on the Sunday morning. We obviously both worked all day. I felt grand by the end of the day's work, because that's the way it goes. Sometimes you sort of sweat it out and you feel alright. And so we'd Monday, Tuesday off. Sunday evening I was thinking, yeah, I feel alright. He wasn't. He was saying, no, I feel a bit rough now, actually, Reuben. So Monday, Tuesday we're off. Wednesday I'm in work, and the boss is like, oh, Shan, that's my mate who I do the nights with. He's got COVID. He woke up in the middle of the night. I rang him. He woke up in the middle of the night, shivering and fucking shit like that. And next day did a test, has the COVID. Fact. So, right, okay, cool. It's about 9-10 o'clock. I'm chatting with him on the Wednesday. By the time, and I feel grand, like, I feel fine. By the time 12 o'clock in the day hits, I'm fucking wiped. I feel like I got hit by a bus. I can't even concentrate on the dockets, because I do night times, I do dinner, but on a Wednesday I do breakfast and lunch so the lads can get their prep done. And then I'm on to prep for Thursday into my services for the weekend. So I'm doing the daytime service on Wednesday. And like quite quickly I'm fucking bowled over, wiped out. And I can't even concentrate on the dockets. Like I'm like a fucking headless idiot going, oh, what am I putting on? So I was really discombobulated. And I had to go, basically. It came on me like really quickly. And I felt really shitty. And I knew something was awry. I knew I probably had COVID at this stage. So I just... packed up what I had to pack up and sort of to hedge my bets for the weekend and go home. I leave work, I'm in the car park, in the car, ring the boss and say, yo boss man, I don't feel well, I feel like I've been hit by a bus. And he was just like, I'm in bed, man, with all my clothes on, shivering me bollocks off. He said he was walking across the road, walking through Woodies, and he just got really cold all of a sudden. And when he went to pick up the bag of fertilizer which he was buying, he just could barely lift it, he said. And just like that, we were feeling like shit. So I went home, got a little bag of Cali, I won't lie, got a little Cali pack for myself, and chilled out. Next day I did an antigen test, and it had a very faint positive line. And that just got more and more. And I'm still now 5 days later testing positive. And I suppose then, in general, I didn't feel like, at no point did I feel, oh shit, I'm in trouble here, I'm going to die from this, or anything like that. But I would say, like, because they say this is the weakest. Now, who do you believe? But I mean, they say that this is the weakest strain. That if you get this, you'll be all right. And I got a little bit of a hit off it now. I have to say, I got a little bit of a bite out of my ass. But then one thing I did think, it was like, if it was 5 to 10 times worse, I would have fucking known all about it. I'm sure I would have thought, shit, I'm going about to meet my maker here, bro. I know a lad who got that Delta or something. Unvaccinated fiend said he thought he was going to meet his maker. So I didn't feel like that, but I fucking was wiped out, I have to say. And another weird thing that I wasn't expecting is I got a really fucking bad gut symptom from it, whatever you want to call it. And I'll explain. Oh, so yeah, I did. I got a weird sort of gut infection almost or something from coronavirus. I tell you this much, it didn't feel, like I said, I didn't feel like I was in fear for my life, but it didn't feel like any other sickness I'd had. And I'll explain a little bit. Like, it was flu-like, but very strange. The aches were very strange, and even still today I'm getting these weird sort of aches, and it's hard to articulate what I mean when I say weird aches. It's very hard to articulate. It's a feeling that I haven't had before. I've had bad flu maybe twice in my life, like bad flu, and it was definitely akin to that, but with an extra sort of element of like eek, just a little bit tweakier or something. It's hard to explain. Like I said, I had a gut issue. I found it to be nauseating in a strange sort of way. It's hard to explain this tweaky sort of feeling that I'm talking about. Did anyone else have coronavirus and thought that it didn't feel like anything else they had? I got, like I said, really painful gas. I was doing weird farts. It felt like my stomach was expanded. Do you know what I mean? Like there was gas in my stomach. I was pissing into a pot and there was like foam. And I know we all get a bit of foamy piss, but this looked like what comes off the ocean. The protein that gets skimmed off the beach or out of the sea at the shore. It looked like candida or some sort of fucking fungal gut manifestation. And I could see it. Like I was there, Jesus Christ. And so between that and the gas and the weird pain farts, and also I got thrush on my penis, like really bad. It looked like it had been in the ocean overnight, and I found that to be very strange because they were my most intense symptoms. I still have a bit of a headache, still have a bit of achy pain stuff, but and in fact the gut thing is dissipating now. But I thought that was weird now. The thrush really threw me with the foamy piss and the sore stomach and all. What the fuck is that about? Did anyone else have a situation like that when they got coronavirus? Obviously I've taken vitamin C like a motherfucker every day. I'm pumping the vitamin D. I started taking again probiotics because I thought it would be the best thing for my gut. I also am on a course of ivermectin that I got from someone. And I suppose it's a bit paranoid because it wasn't given to me by a doctor and I can't discuss any of it with a doctor. But I said, fuck it, I'll take it. So I've been taking that. I think I'm on my 4th day today. Tomorrow will be the last day of my ivermectin dose. And it's not the fucking worm, the horse dewormer ivermectin. It's human ivermectin. 12 milligram tablets. I was almost going to stop taking the ivermectin. In fact, I did stop taking it for the day because I thought it was creating those gut issues, but now it's not. I did Google, and apparently, like candida and gut things is a symptom of coronavirus for people for definite. But it was just weird. I suppose the point I'm trying to make is that I felt the whole thing to be weird. It made me feel like this sort of icky sort of weirdness feeling, and it was ringing a lot of different bells in a lot of subtle and nuanced ways that I was thinking to myself the whole time that this motherfucker was made in a lab. This, whatever's going on inside me, doesn't add up. Now you might be listening to me going, Reuben, you're a fucking crazy person, and I might be a crazy person, but didn't feel like something I'd felt before, and it sort of galvanized for me just personally on a spiritual or subconscious level. I was like going, this is a motherfucking man-made disease, yo, that leaked from a lab in Wuhan. I know it, I feel it inside of me. So what does anyone else think about that? Did they feel that when they had it, or am I just being a total nutcase? I watched a lot of movies and a lot of television, actually, more than I have in years. And I used to love just doing nothing, sitting around smoking joints, watching television. And now I sort of hate it. I love going to work and all. I hate just sitting around being a moron. And I have been going for a few little walks and doing a few sprints up and down my lane, trying to stay exercise. And at no point did I feel like I had a major lung issue. Touch wood now, but yeah, like I was saying, I haven't vegged out like that to television for a very long time, and I did for a sort of 3-4 day period. And we're gonna do a few little reviews of a couple of the things I watched. That was one thing Wicklow B maybe suggested, to do music reviews, bucket list shit, movie reviews, and so I'm gonna actually do a few little, just quick, like nothing major. It's not very well thought out or anything like that. So I watched a program on Netflix called Taboo with Tom Hardy, and it's set in dark, dirty London in like 1814 or something. And the basic plot is, this is a guy who was returned to inherit his father's, returned to London from fucking Africa, or he's been on a mad trip somewhere. He's returned to inherit his father's estate, which includes a shitty old fucking derelict house in London there on the Wapping Wall on the river, and a little piece of land called Nootka Sound, and it's basically an island, a trading post right on the border of where because there's obviously the War of Independence, is it? No. What is the war there? Is it the War of Independence? It would be, yeah. And So they're getting ready to draw up the United States of America, and right on the border of the United States of America and what will remain Canada or under colonial rule, as far as I'm concerned, right on the border, there's a little trading post which is very important for everyone to make loads of money. It's called Nooka Sound, and this guy somehow, not somehow, yeah, Tom Hardy's mother is actually from the island of Nooka Sound. She was bought by Tom Hardy's father, and along with the piece of land. So he's returned to inherit that shit. He's been on a mad dark journey through fucking Africa and running slaves and shit like this, and he goes up against the East India Trading Company because they want this piece of land. Now, I don't know a whole heap about the East India Trading Company, but as far as I understand, they were fucking lunatics, like a law unto themselves, with a private army and a huge navy, effectively. And they were total dirty bunch of dodgy bastards, as I understand it. I mean, I think because another premise, and I suppose this is why it's called Taboo, is that Tom Hardy wants to fuck his sister. He had been fucking her before he went off to Africa, and now he's back. He wants to full on fuck her and marry her, and she's like married to some colonialist wankstain, and it's the sexual side of it's fucked up. Actually, it's pretty wild, to be honest with you. I understand now why the program is called Taboo, and in fact, he maybe even goes on to fancy his mother, his stepmom, and all. So, you know, that's sort of wacky and weird and out there. I'm always into that. The stuff about East India the Honourable East India Company is really interesting stuff. I'd love to see a documentary actually about the East India Company. If anyone knows of one, maybe they could put me wide to it, because it's interesting stuff. And I tell you what else is interesting stuff is the monarchy shit as well. I don't know why, but I always find that stuff to be interesting. It's 1814. King George has lost his mind, I think, and the Prince Regent is now ruling in his place. So, interesting time, interesting period, very interesting stuff. So, look, Taboo, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's worth a watch, for definite. Tom Hardy's alright in it. He's not as annoying as he can be, and he's not as good as he can be either. So, worth a watch as far as I'm concerned, 7 out of 10. Watched Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch on a back-to-back. And you might be thinking, well, give me a break here, Reuben, but they're actually fucking classics. Like, The Gentleman, which I watched as well, is quite entertaining. There's some good acting in it. Hugh Grant's pretty good in it. Colin Farrell's pretty good in it. But, you know, it's not really much more than that. You know, it's not really much more than just sort of an entertaining popcorn movie. Whereas Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch they're very entertaining, and there's some great acting in them. But they're fucking classics as well. They're classic little fucking British Pulp Fiction-esque stories of, you know, fucking petty crime, I suppose, and low-level gangster shit. And they're fucking really good, I have to say. Is it just me? Jason Statham looks the same age now as he did 30 years ago or 25 years ago. It's wild, isn't it? What age is he even? And what age is he even in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels? Because he looks the same. He looks 50. What else did we watch? Anyway, you know, in fairness to him, big shout out to what's his fucking name? The writer and director, guys. What's his name? Guy Ritchie. That's it. That's the COVID. In fairness to Guy Ritchie, and say what you like about him, those first two films are little classics, and he is an encyclopedic knowledge of London, and sort of historically, and also like he knows all the soap opera. You know what I mean? He knows all of the story. He knows all of the real characters. Like, he was obsessed with Lenny McLean and would have spoke a lot to Lenny McLean about the old English gangsters. And if you don't want to be carrying the fingers, you haven't fucking go. Like, that's Lenny McLean, a prize fighter and a security lunatic for in London, back in the Dizzo. And so the point I'm trying to make is that Guy Ritchie, in fairness to him, has a really interesting knowledge of that sort of British gangster lore and history, and so and that comes out in those movies in a big way, and it's really good. So fair fucking play to him. I suppose when he made Lock, Stock, he was young. He must have just saw when the credits went up and he made it, he just must have thought, oh fuck yeah, I'm onto something here. So yeah, in fairness, props for them movies. What else? Get Hard. Obviously total crap, like just crap movie you put on, but deceptively funny as well. Like really crap on one hand and deceptively entertaining on the other. I have to say now, look, I'm sitting around being a moron. I'm not saying it's fucking The Great Gatsby or whatever, but it's fucking, it's not Coppola or fucking Scorsese, but it's good. It's entertaining on one hand. Check it out, okay? Or don't. See if I care. I also watched a thing called Bad Vegan. Man, oh man. Huh? I won't go too much into Bad Vegan, but it's worth a watch. It's a totally crazy story, and very like another documentary called The Tinder Swindler, also on Netflix. And like I said, it's a story about a woman who gets mixed up with a con artist, basically, it would seem, and he starts to tell her these fantastical tales about how he's part of some secret society, and if she keeps surrendering her money to him, that she will also be allowed into this secret society and get untold, unfathomable, unending riches, and all of this shit. Like, it's totally out there stuff. It sounds like, I don't know, at some point it would have just been like, baby girl, are you listening to what this motherfucker is saying? Yeah? And because it just seems so like no one would believe what he's talking about. How could they? And so I suppose it made me think that she knew what was going on. Definitely by the end, definitely by the time they run off and they're not paying people that they owe money to, like just normal everyday people, that you're thinking there's no way she can just not have a clue what's going on, that she's that far removed or has gone into herself that much. This might be unpopular, but again, a woman could never play it the way she played it, because like if two lads did that, one of the lads couldn't turn around and go, oh, I don't know what was going on, it was all him. It just wouldn't fly. Whereas a woman can sort of get away with that a little bit. Is that an unpopular thing to say? Because she's just like, I don't know what was going on. It was all him. And you're just like, oh, okay. Now, she went to jail and all, so I suppose it didn't really help her in that respect. But in the court of public opinion, I think people are more likely to feel sorry for this woman. And I'm just a little bit like, nah, don't know, love. Don't know if you're getting away with it from me. Because another thing is, like, has anyone seen it? Are all the phone recordings real? Because there's a bit where she says, that's when I started recording phone calls. But we'd heard phone calls previous to that revelation, so were they scripted or were they acted by voice actors, and if so, is that her side of the story? Because it'd be one thing if I could say anything. I could say, oh, he said this, and then they put it into a little recording, and then that's what everyone thinks. But if that's not the actual recording, I think it's important for us to know, is that a way in which documentaries aren't what they used to be? Is there's more hearsay and conjecture and sort of sensationalism in documentaries now, especially the Netflix ones, than have ever been, and can we actually believe them? Are those phone conversations real? Not like did they take place, but like are the bits we're listening to the actual recorded phone conversations? Because it's at odds with itself there, I suppose, for a little bit. And if so, if they are real, what about the last one? Like, at the last one, after she's apparently, he's fucking ruined her life and appropriated $1.7 million of her own money, and she's gone to jail as a result of XYZ ABC. The last fucking phone conversation they have, when all this is said and done, they're flirting with each other in this sort of fucking narcissistic, weird way that smacks of his narrative of being, like, part of this secret sect. Like, there's obviously a lot of cocaine abuse going on, I would have thought as well, that doesn't get spoken about at all. But the last conversation is weirdly flirtatious, where, like, it sounded like they were going to fucking get back together. And that throws the whole narrative into disrepute a little bit, in my opinion. And the other thing I want to know is, like, when I'm watching things like the Tinder Swindler and Bad Vegan, I go, how the fuck do these lads get away with this shit? Like, I've been in relationships, and some of them relationships I tried really fucking hard, and at the end of them I was still a fucking asshole. These motherfuckers are fucking emptying bank accounts, and bitches still love them at the end. Yeah, so, I mean, I think all of those aforementioned bits of media there are worth a watch. Check them out, maybe. I'm not saying they're Oscar worthy. Oh, no, you didn't. That's one thing we're going to talk about, isn't it? We're going to talk about the Oscars this year and what happened, and everyone knows what happened, but let's say it anyway. Will Smith took offence, apparently, allegedly, to a joke made at his wife's expense, and he got up and he slapped Chris Rock right in the face for it.
I'm out here. Richard. Oh, wow.
And there are people saying that it's fake. It's obviously not fake. Afterwards, like, Chris Rock was like, what the fuck just happened? And Chris Rock...
Okay.
That's his job, is using his brain really quickly. And he's been doing that really effectively for a long time. And it would take a lot to stump that motherfucker in that environment. And so he was obviously shook. And I felt sorry for Chris Rock. And we'll talk about why in a little bit. But when I saw that Chris Rock was obviously like a bit shook by the thing and it was real, I just thought, my God, Will, man, you're a fucking idiot. God bless you, you're a spa. Like, it was the most emasculated thing I'd ever seen. It wasn't tough. There were women going, that's how you do for your woman. That's not. Because that's not what he was going to do. He was laughing at the joke, and then he turned around and he obviously saw that Jada wasn't laughing, and people would say, yeah, so it upset his wife, so she was more just like angry looking. And so he saw that obviously and decided that he would make this big grand gesture of chivalry or devotion and loyalty. I don't know what it is. And I just thought, what an idiot. She got upset, and you have, after making a fool out of yourself, and that sort of is a microcosm for maybe how their relationship works a little bit, because she obviously went off and fucked lads half his age and all, and then made him go on television and talk about it and cry about it like a fucking spa. So it's just like, again, made to look like a total fool based on her emotions, or, you know what I mean? And, you know, touching on that awful Facebook Red Table program, she had Snoop on it one time, and she was saying, because Snoop had cussed out some woman who said something about Kobe Bryant, and what's her name now? Apparently, I don't know, I didn't read it, but it was expletive laced, shall we say, and she's like, when I saw that, I felt like you took my power flow from me. You took my mom's power flow. You took my sister's power flow. You took all the women's power flow, Snoop. And I just thought, not Snoop, man. And it's just like, that's so fake. Shut up. It's nothing to do with you. What are you even talking about? You took my power flow. Not Snoop, man. Don't let Snoop be dogging the bitches. And he's just sitting there like spa with his hat in his hand. Oh, I'm sorry.
When you first came out and you said what you said, you know, in regards to Gail.
Yes.
My heart dropped. I felt like not only were you talking to Gail, but you were talking to me. Yeah. I was like, oh no, Snoop has now taken his power flow away from me, away from Willow, away from my mother. Right? I was like, oh, if this is what's happening, I was like, not Snoop.
Right.
So not only do I think he's a spy for doing it for the aforementioned reasons, but I also think it's totally out of line, to be honest with you. And all the comedians are up in arms about it, and what they're saying is that this now emboldens already pretty fucking intense situations they have with hecklers. This emboldens those hecklers to now just get up and fucking hit them a dig. And I mean, that's not cool. That's someone doing their job. A girl I know had put up Hero or something with a picture of Will Smith, and I was like, that's bullshit. He's a bully, basically. And he's like, no, he's a man of priorities that can't be bought. I respect that. More punching, less talking. And I was just like, wow, that's totally all I would have thought off the mark, because they're not his priorities. It wasn't his priority to go up and slap Chris Rock. It was Jada's. And he went, okay, because of a side eye, he went and did that. She probably on some subconscious level, even herself finds it unattractive that he went up and slapped her just because she fucking side-eyed the Phil. I mean, obviously, he can be bought. He's been bought and sold his whole life. And now he's bought and sold by Jada Pinkett Smith. She owns him. She got his balls in her fucking purse. It's just side-eye motherfucker. He go up and potentially ruin his life. So I don't respect that, and I think the idea of more punching, less talking is obviously fucking pretty retarded. It's coming from a woke libertarian Bjorn that I know. Until she gets a slap in the mouth, or some lad she knows gets the shit kicked out of him for, you know what I mean? Chris Rock is half of Will Smith's size. Like, that's not tough. That's not what a real man does. That's a fucking coward and a bully. And, like, I'd like to see him do that to Joe Rogan, banging out a monologue. He'd lose his fucking arm. You know what I'm saying? And he wouldn't do it then. That's another reason he did it, because he knew physically there's no comeback from this. Now, whether or not he knew that there was gonna be no comeback in real time is who knows. But he knew physically there was no danger here. And it turns out there was no sort of social danger either, because nothing happened. No security. No one did anything. I felt really bad for Chris Rock at that stage, where he's just like...
Okay.
Because, like, nothing happened. If a guy makes a point, like, if a hairdresser or... like a cameraman went up and tried to slap Chris Rock because they took offense to one of his monologue jokes, they wouldn't make it. They'd be fucking enveloped by security and ejected, and nothing to that effect happened. Nothing even like it looked like. And so that was a bit shitty, I thought. And then people go and champion it at the ceremony. I'd just be like, oh my god, that was so embarrassing and so awkward. I feel so embarrassed for Will Smith. I hope he's embarrassed for himself. What an idiot. I would say that there. And then big up Chris Rock. And that really annoyed me about the situation, is that how come no one said, sorry, Will, we're going to have a chat here, mate. And like when he was walking back, I saw this other angle where Jade is like... this big maniacal fucking laugh on her, and I just thought to myself, Jesus, looked awful. It made them look really bad, I thought, all of them. And I suppose because, like, it soon became obvious when he went up to do his speech that he's a fucking egomaniac, because he's up there talking about being a vessel for respect and love. He just fucking slapped a guy in the face for doing his job, a guy you know and all. It's a disgrace, mate. What are you at? You've made an absolute show of yourself, and your whole teary-eyed fucking monologue here is moot, because obviously you're not a vessel for respect and altruism. You just fucking physically assaulted a dude. And like then the other part of it was just like, you know, we've got to be bulletproof, and it's just hard sometimes, whatever his analogy was about, and you know, having to live with being disrespected by people, so being criticized, and anyone who does subjective art shit for their living is the same. So shut the fuck up. You get paid really well for it. If you got a problem with it, step off.
Now, know to do what we do, you got to be able to take abuse. You got to be able to have people talk crazy about you. In this business, you got to be able to have people disrespecting you. And you got to smile and you got to pretend like that's okay.
You don't have to do this, but you can't, because you're an egomaniac. That's what's going on here. Your whole family are. That's why you are like, look like the fucking Matrix next level, with all your stupid haircuts and fucking stupid glasses and stupid clothes and all, because these are like, we are Hollywood. You know what I mean? Your son tweeted out, "This is how we get things done," or whatever. It's like, you're literally like the softest guy on planet Earth, mate. Keep your little mouth shut now for a minute before you get a slap. All right? I just thought they need to be taken down a peg or two. And yeah, the speech just gross, like, and the aftermath and like I think Jada Pinkett said this is a season for healing. It's like, that's the classic egomaniac shit. You want to manufacture a situation where your husband goes and slaps a guy and goes, "Let's heal together." You sound like something out of a horror movie. Anyway, it was really fucking entertaining. Anyway, that's for sure. Interesting, huh? And oh yeah, because my young lad's mother was saying that she was like, "Mark my words, he'll be going into like a psychiatric hospital soon," and she's probably right. But she also said, I didn't realise that he had left his wife previous to be with Jada Pinkett Smith, and that really it all fell into place a little bit, because he, in order to justify, you know, in order for him to be a good guy, Will Smith wants to be a good guy, you know, that's his MO. I'm a good guy, you know what I mean? And a good guy can leave his wife and start a relationship and have a family with another woman straight off the bat. Like, he can leave his wife for that. A good guy can do that if it's like, you know, some soulmate, you know, shit. Basically, that, you know, which is bullshit anyway. But and so that's why he has to like let her fuck young lads and control his balls and appease her by potentially ruining his career and stuff like that. He does all that because this is love. This is what love looks like. This is what a man does for his woman when they're in love. We're in love. I don't mind going on having these amazing conversations and crying, you know, and having fucking epiphanic moments with you because it's the real deal. This is fairy book stuff. We're meant to be together. You know what I mean? It's just like, give me a break, man. You're making a fool of yourself, and you're looking worse and worse. It's not some fairy tale. It's just a relationship like any other relationship. And if you keep putting her up on a pedestal and doing shit like this and allowing stuff like whatever to fly, then you're doomed. All right? That's an analogy for all relationships. Be yourself, love yourself, put yourself on a pedestal, or otherwise you might end up slapping Chris Rock in the face at the Oscar ceremony. Peace and love. Mwah!
Take another photograph and document a life that's right. And ways consist of simple things, the days of black and white. And faces from a humble past